brother Greg.
All right, very good. All right, this is the Fairhaven Shade Tree Commission meeting of March 5th, 2025. This is the regular meeting of the Shade Tree Commission of the Borough of Fairhaven. In accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, public meetings may be held in person or by means of communication equipment to include the streaming service and other online meeting platforms. This meeting is being held in person and through the Zoom meeting platform, being broadcast from Borough Hall, 748 River Road, Fairhaven, New Jersey. Public participation for this meeting on March 5th, 2025 is available by calling phone number or through Zoom. Members of the public will be on mute until it is time for questions or comments, which will be announced. At that time, the public has the opportunity to question or comment by phone through Zoom by the raise hand button and will be called on at the appropriate time. Notice of this meeting was sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Two River Times, and the Star Ledger on January 31st, 2025, posted on the Borough website, the bulletin board in the municipal building, and has remained continuously posted as required under the statute. With adequate notice having been given, the Shade Tree Commission Secretary is directed to include this statement in the minutes of this meeting. I just realized I skipped the call to order.
You can do that.
Oh, wait, no.
You do
Roll
that.
call.
Leah Viganis, absent. Peter DeGotti is absent. Mike D'Angelo,
Here.
Mike Hoey, absent. Chris Larson,
Here.
Chris McCabe, said he'd be here, so maybe we. Rebecca Fleet is absent.
Is she?
She's a newest
She's
member
our-
appointed by the mayor at the last council meeting.
She was, and then she could, well, go ahead.
Jill Sullivan.
Here.
Bonnie Torsidia.
Here.
Also present, Councilman La Barbera and Borough Secretary Christy Larson. You have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Please rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. Everybody look at the prior meeting minutes. To approve. Second.
Are you sure everybody was here? I think you have. No, I was just thinking do you put in who was present?
Yes.
Okay, like was Drew here last time? I thought he wasn't here. I don't know, I just was like thinking back,
The meeting.
not to call you on it, but were you at the last meeting?
There's a line that says absent, Mike
Yeah.
D'Angelo, Mike Hoey, Councilman La Barbera.
Oh, I'm sorry, no, I didn't see that.
Oh, good.
Because it
okay.
said, I saw present and then absent, so they're on both.
Oh, so, okay,
Sorry, so I didn't even look at absent.
Yeah.
Okay, I just
Got
was
it.
trying to remember who.
I will write them there. Thank you for
Well, it
pointing
was
that out.
because they were on both ends.
All right, so I had a motion to approve minutes. Can I get a?
I wasn't here, so.
Oh, that's true.
I want to second
Yes,
this.
yes, I can second it.
Okay. All right, we're gonna move on to the project updates. The Community Forestry Management Plan and Grant, it is now official. We have issued a purchase order to Bill Brash. He was not able to come to this meeting, but he will be at the next meeting to discuss, his process that is required for this plan. Understand, right?
Yeah,
He
so
said
we
he's
got the
coming.
grant?
So
Yeah.
we got the grant.
Oh, yes, yeah, I think, yep, we got the grant, and,
So it's like net, right?
it
We
is,
got
it's
5,000
5 grand,
grant.
and it costs him 5,000. He charges 5,000. Thank you. So he will be at the next meeting, and Christy, you brought this up before about distributing the current plan.
Oh, right, I can send it to all the members, the one that expired, if we had a Fairhaven's 2014 to 19 plan, that was the last one.
Hmm.
And now I could circulate that with the new updated guidelines for anyone who wants to review prior to Mr. Brash coming.
Yeah, I think it would just be a good idea if we just kind of thumb through it a little bit, so we have, any questions, for Mr. Brash, we can discuss
I
it with
think
him.
it's gonna be totally different this time. Okay?
Sure, if it is, that's good too, and, but, you know, let's get an idea of where we should be.
Did he suggest anything that we should be doing prior?
Not yet, we haven't really I haven't talked to him since we issued the PO, but like I said, he wasn't able to come to this meeting, but he said he would be at our April meeting. Kick it off.
Is this one now we just have to start taking track of our hours, our volunteer?
Yeah, we can start recording any work we do for it now.
Now that he got the grant, like he's.
The date
on
of
board.
award was. I don't know the exact date, but the work starts from that award date, which is. Before today.
So like, what are we, like, what kind of volunteer hours are we recording or tracking?
Shade tree meetings where you discuss it, if any member has an offline conversation with Mr. Brash about the plan, or does any ancillary work that he requests the shade tree to do for the plan.
So not just reading through it and making notes and I did like.
I mean, that counts.
That counts.
That's a counts on it, okay.
Yeah, you can email me if you guys do any work on the side, and I'll just have a
Okay.
master's recording. He's already asked for the inventory data, the true ordinance report, so I've sent him a ton of stuff to get a leg up. So hopefully when he comes in April, he'll have some suggestions and plan of attack.
And there wasn't, refresh my memory, like anything recorded before this is not applicable to going forward, right? Like all our discussions will be ordinance and stuff like that.
Correct,
It's
but
Yeah.
for the $5,000 grant, the match is 25%, $1250, and that adds up very quickly with a volunteer rate of $33.50, so I don't foresee any problem.
So
meeting
how
that.
many hours do we need? You said it really quick.
Quick math,
Oh, sorry, it's not a lot.
1250 divided by what, 33.50 cents?
Yeah.
Like
I mean, and
40
in
hours.
that 1250, we allotted some to me and Nick, 'cause I'm sure we'll try to get Nick and Dave Carl's opinion on some things.
This will not be an issue.
No.
Yeah. But as long as we just keep, remember to keep track of it.
Yeah, just send me and I'll keep it all organized.
All right, sounds good.
And if you do, just by the way, just say, I did this for this much time, even if it's like 20 minutes.
There's Chris.
Welcome, Chris. So that's it. That's where we're at with this.
Yay.
So we'll move on
That's
for,
good news.
Well done.
And that's
Resident-
due December 31st, right?
yes, was it due right at the end of the year? Or was it-
They suggested handing it in, submitting it by December 1st, because it takes the state forester ample time to review and then get it totally okay, check the box.
Sure.
Before that date. So that, I would say that would, the goal would be submission December 1st.
And that's all I have for that. So we'll move on to spring resident tree buying program.
Right, so we're good to go. We have a nice selection of trees. And the program will start on Monday, the 10th, and run through March 31st will be the order taking window. And that gives us enough time to kind of collate everything and get it over to Fernbrook, and then they will plant mid-May-ish.
Do you have a communication going out, like from the bus or something?
Say that again?
Do you want a communication, already have a communication plan to go out? Like to the residents of it?
Yeah, Bonnie,
Babs,
Ann
okay.
usually,
Yeah.
blast that with the,
Yeah, it'll go Monday, so.
Yeah.
on the 10th.
and then, Leah will put it on our social media, but I would really encourage everybody here, yourself included, to like to share it within your own pages, because our social media following is only a couple hundred people, so as much as possible to get it out. If you're allowed to do that in your capacity as a council person, that would be great.
I'll blast out to my number.
Yeah, so, yeah, so, looking to, just get as many trees in the ground as we can. The new thing this year, and this was, Bonnie's suggestion, is that we are offering add-ons, one being a gator bag for watering.
Mhm.
They could add that on to a tree that they purchase, and Fernbrook will bring it. The other thing, are the trunk wraps for the deer protection.
That's good.
So those will be available for an additional charge. Obviously, people could buy them separately, but at least it kind of draws awareness to the fact that they're a good idea.
Sure.
The other thing, I'll just lump this in here because we had talked about it. The memorial tree program is not on here, right? No.
No,
Okay. So I spoke with them about that as well. And just, it definitely needs to kind of hash this out a little bit more, but their recommendation would be that we would run this program on the same timeline as the resident tree buying program. Because they would not want to come out and plant one-offs, which I can understand. And we had discussed, I don't know if I brought it up here, if it's just Bonnie and I discussing this, so I'll say it again. The idea that we would identify locations in town and then, mark them, basically, it could be through the Arbor Pro tree plotter, software that we have.
Mhm.
Or we could just maintain some sort of list. I think I would, maybe it's a combination of those. Where we would identify the plots within, within the software and then maybe like have like some sort of, document like we do for the resident tree buying program. And we would work with Fernbrook and maybe Shari to kind of identify within those locations, an option, like a menu of options that somebody that wanted to purchase a memorial tree would be able to pick from. So if that's, a holly or a oak tree, whatever, I mean, just two random examples, like they could pick that for that location because that would be the right tree for that spot. And the trees would be independent of what we are offering for the resident tree buying program. So, somebody could, in theory, buy a memorial tree in July, but it wouldn't get planted until the fall planting of the resident tree buying program. So I think that there's some of these, that's what they recommend and they're willing to do.
Mhm.
Now, clearly on our end, we need to run this up the tree.
Right.
In order to get it approved as a program, because this would be planting in theory on public property. So I think we just need to kind of work out what those details would look like, and if it's something that the town would want to support, obviously.
Yeah.
I think that there's also the aspect of how the resident would pay for it, like how that would work out, with the borough, or if it would be directly with Fernbrook, or if we wanted to kind of also provide options on how somebody would plaque this, plot, if we want to allow that, or if it's just kind of, they just know it's their tree.
Right.
And then also the care that's associated with that, with the new planting, if somebody, chooses to do this, is it their responsibility on this public property to water and wrap it and kind of babysit it until it's established?
Yeah.
So I think that these are all the things that over the next couple meetings or whatever, we should probably think about, and
Sure.
then, kind of put, throw a proposal to you that you could take to council. But, it would be great to target this perhaps for the fall as the first time.
Sure.
To roll it
Sounds
out.
good.
And we can leverage all the lessons learned that Bonnie and Mark have done on Third Street, right? We've done plantings on public property, right? We have a pretty good process, so. If you wanna grab a cup of coffee, let's go through, outline it, we can kind of start initial coordination internally and see what questions come up, but.
But we have the one tree, right? The one memorial tree on Third Street. Do we have only just done one with the garden club member who passed and her family wanted to do that?
Right, so they did that through the
Resident
resident,
tree buying.
the resident tree buying program, which is something that they said that they would be willing to do if somebody wanted to plant something on the Third Street Trail. They
Yeah.
said that that's fine, they could go in there again. This is more about identifying other places in town that somebody might want something, or something outside of that program if they wanted something specific. That could kind of live throughout the year, like, this is, you know, if somebody decides they want to purchase a memorial tree around Christmas time or something like that, they can actually say, I want this tree, it's going to go here. Now, you know, it's like they're reserving their spot almost.
Hmm.
And the tree just wouldn't go in the ground until Fernbrook
The right
is
time.
planting.
At Library Lit Day, you could almost have, if you wanted to, I mean, maybe we won't get approval.
I don't think
yeah.
we're gonna get it done that
Yeah.
fast. It's
Yeah.
just, yeah, that's, I mean, that's really
Well,
fast.
or at the August, remember we talked about the farmer's market, advertising.
Well, that would be a coordination. I mean, if this
I
was
mean,
done in
yeah,
time
yeah,
for the
we could do it
launch
there.
of the fall planting,
Yeah.
like, yes,
Okay,
you know, we could, if that was our target. I
Because
mean,
they
if it
said,
doesn't
sure, we
happen
could have a
before,
table.
it would happen in the spring, but.
I think if you compile the information, like in like some type of write-up, send it to me and I can start coordinating now. Thanks, great.
Yeah, sure, yeah, no problem. I think, yeah, I mean. The plaque, we did, I feel like we did a plaque for something, right? Was it the,
it was for the
Oh,
big tree
William
hunt,
Robards.
Yeah.
that was really big,
Yes.
yeah, this is.
The
Yeah,
big
they-
tree.
I mean, like a small something. I mean, I know that
Wasn't
the
the Eagle
sun,
Scouts supposed to do them on the Third Street Trail? Was that?
yeah, they got boycotted. Put them up for
That's
the
the last
picture.
thing I remember.
Yeah, I mean, you could get, I mean, obviously they
Like
have
the
them all over
plaques.
colleges and stuff, they have like little brass, something, you know, just small.
well, yeah,
Um,
I just know they're pricey.
yeah, and you just have to
Yeah.
be careful of what you're strapping on the tree, it grows and then it grows into the bark or something, if they're not paying attention and stuff like that.
I was kind of envisioning it being put into the ground now.
Mhm, yeah, it could be.
Yeah. I look at it, I think though as far as the care and the plaque, I think that might be something we should kind of push off onto. I don't know, sound insensitive, but you know, they should have to take care of the.
But we
tree.
want them to be uniform, we
I
don't,
think the plaque, you can't, like,
Yeah.
we kind
Well,
of
that's
have to
true,
yeah.
say what you're allowed and not allowed to do.
yeah,
I mean,
I mean, I could picture that going wrong.
I mean,
Yeah.
we could have a
That's
place
right.
that they order it from and they pay for it and they do that, but it's a standard plaque. essentially, that we've already approved.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, I can't imagine that this is going to be something that is, you know, we're not gonna be doing hundreds of memorial trees, so maybe it's some relationship we could have like Beacon or something like that, and they could just call. And,
I know one of the times when I was at the Shore Shade Tree, every graduating class, they do a tree, a memorial tree for and plant it, like you do it at McCarter or something. Like every, you know, I don't know if it would be a fifth grade class, every fifth grade class or something, or eighth grade or whatever. I don't know, it's just an idea. I know that's
I mean.
lots and lots of trees,
Yeah,
but if you spend, if all the kids, you know, donate to it, whatever, but it's an idea.
Yeah, I mean, that, if they wanted to do that.
Lots, yeah.
I'm gonna toss that one right
yeah,
over to you.
I was like, on this one, the ideas will, we got the plan in place to
Yeah.
facilitate, but let the ideas roll in from, you know, the purchaser. Consumer.
Yeah, we'll just put the framework out
So
there.
what is the tree list, that you saw, the final one?
The one that.
The one we did?
Yeah,
Because remember, Nativity wanted a bunch of oaks, so we should
Yeah,
just be
for
sure that they get the notification.
I spoke to John today.
yeah.
Oh, you did, okay, perfect, okay. Just because I know they want a bunch of them, yeah.
Yep.
And the memorial trees are the same trees that, or they can pick something else if
They
it's a
can pick
memorial
something
tree.
else, so it like,
But it
if
will
it would just be planted at the same time, so not all. We would, you know, depending on the spot, you wouldn't wanna just say like. It varies by this list because not all these trees would be appropriate for that spot, so it would really be about identifying. The right tree that could go into that location, and maybe it's a selection of 3 or whatever.
Gotcha.
But Fernbrook said that they would help us with that,
Okay.
like kind of identifying, the right tree for the locations that we pick.
Good.
I mean, I kind of feel like, you know, if we start out with identifying like 10 spots. And then see how that goes, and then if, we could, if once 5 are gone, maybe we add 5 more on or something like that, and just, like, kind of like, always have at least 5 out there,
Sure. Sounds good, sounds good.
Are we going to do any trees as part of this? Shade tree commission, are we gonna buy trees?
Yes, I think we first had to get the program approved. Oh, you mean the residential?
Oh, you-
Yeah, the
My
residential.
apologies, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just to plant some trees.
Yeah, that should be new business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, Jill.
Sure.
Moving on, green team, natural area. Fine.
So the natural area, I think we were supposed to actually have a walkthrough with the park system today, but it's because of the strong winds, they canceled, so that's next week. Just trying to get their advice on things and see what they think about the deer browse and, just, we do that every once in a while, walk through the park system, they're so good and helpful. The green team submitted, thank you, Christy, 60 points for the, on tree actions. This woman's like, on fire. But we have 215 points on our way to 350 to get recertified as silver. And that's, so we had one deadline at the end of February and now the next one's up in May.
And what's gold? 660?
Gold is you have to do specific actions, like a big health action or a big, like they're big actions that we're kind of working on, but it's a lot more of a commitment too. There are only 2.
Yeah, the whole list.
It's a big.
2 towns, there goes.
Two golds, what, 2
Oh,
towns, yeah,
oh.
so it's big, I mean, yes. If we could get a lot more help, we could make it to gold, it's a lot of work. And so the Love Where You Live Day is on the 27th, so we'll talk about Willow and McCarter Park. And we're trying to figure out the logistics of closing Willow Street and, we have
27th of
April.
okay.
Yep, so it's the end of Earth Week. And I know we had talked about doing, am I allowed to talk about that now, or is that like new business, the Love Where You Live Day activity that we were talking about, doing
that's
something
it. Oh, that's fine.
at Carter?
Yeah,
We talked about maybe getting like a little pass, having stations, like the kids could go in the park, and I was thinking of something to do with the Salem Oaks, and
Yeah.
this brilliant idea
Ooh, go for
that
it.
you, with
Whoa.
this beard, it was the beard that inspired you, you could be John
Okay,
Fenwick,
you're right, Christina.
who met with the little Indians under the Salem Oaks. You could tell the history. You could be
Now
John
an actor?
Fenwick,
Shame
yeah.
this weird, shame this weird mania.
And the kids could have, they have to visit John Fenwick at the Salem Oaks. Hear about the history. And then
that sounds
maybe,
like a lot of fun, John.
I know. I actually.
I will do it, what time?
Okay, well. it's
You're gonna write my
46.
script.
I have something for you to study. I actually did, I wrote.
Keep it light, how many bullet points? I
I
need
know.
bullet points, fine.
Okay.
That's how I operate.
Well, first you
bullet
gotta work
points.
on your
There's a
outfit.
costume too.
Yeah, you gotta get
Oh,
the costume. Yeah,
Never mind.
right, no, you're
Cannot
good.
wait.
You're good.
It looks in that costume.
When I saw that beard, that the cleanup day,
There will be photographers. correct?
but then I was trying to think what other things we could do. I mean, you get the kids to collect 10 acorns or something, or find enough because they're hickory nuts, find something, like collect things, have them collect a bunch of different things. I mean, we had a green team meeting and there were a bunch of mothers just saying, whatever you can do, just keep these kids busy, like running around the park.
Well, I'm gonna play the character as a ornery, angry woodsman,
Okay,
and I'll just boss these kids around.
okay, there you go. Perfect. But we could do, I was gonna reach out to have a big tree hunt. There's that huge oak tree, which I think is like being looked at for, because it's so big, at the corner, but the kids could measure it and they'd be, it would definitely qualify as, it's monstrous.
Which one?
It's at the southeast corner. There are a bunch of big oaks, but there's one that's just mammoth. But I saw Sherry looking at it, I was like, no, I don't know. They just have to keep an eye on it, but, we just have to like think about other things that we could do there.
Scavenger hunt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but so what, like what? Like,
I mean, also,
I mean, I'm saying,
it's a park and kids are gonna have fun just running around.
right, but if we're, if it has to do something with trees, right, so we have to have them, you know. Tree facts, like they, and if we're gonna do this little thing that they check off, I met John Fenwick, I measured the tree. I picked up 10 acorns or something, you know, and then what do they get? Do they get a gift certificate to something? Do they get? You know, just to kind of finalize this. And who do I have working? Because I'm one of the people in charge of it, so Lee and I sat at the table the whole time. I probably have to do a couple other things. Are people free on the 27th, Sunday, April
What is the
27th?
time, Bonnie?
1 to 4,
I can send out a sign on GS if you want.
that would be great.
I don't have anything on my calendar that day, so.
Okay, you can think about who you want to be.
It's gonna be chill.
Just, well, maybe, I mean, you could talk about the resident tree, but I don't know, we could have something, I don't know.
That's done by then.
Okay,
We're not talking about that.
okay, all right,
Um,
think of something. And,
I thought, okay, so wait, I thought you wanted me to sit at the table, is what we.
you could sit at the table and we could have
I
information
could
at the
do whatever you
table.
want, you just tell me what you can do.
I mean, we had that, one year I bought the white oak and we auctioned that off, but that didn't really, one little girl stuffed the box. It was kind of random, I'm not sure if we do that again, but we could have an information table.
Well, it could just be the place that they come back with their scavenger hunt.
Yes, and you
stuff.
check them off and you give them a sticker or something,
Yeah.
or a gift certificate or something.
That's like little tree stickers every time they check one of it.
In a leaf.
Yes.
Like a
Yeah.
stick,
With a leaf.
or a leaf, yeah.
Some
Understand.
stickers. Okay, and, all right, so if we get the sign up sheet, so we'll work on that, just keep brainstorming, good ideas.
Do we have any leftover materials?
We do,
from
I have them all in
previous
my
years, like the
basement.
Stickers, the books. all
Mhm,
that?
it's in my
Okay.
basement in a box, I have some stuff. And just, it's not, I mean, we're talking about Third Street Trail becoming part of the national area, so we had cleanup on Sunday. And we had like 33 people, including some shade tree members, Chris, and the mayor showed up and, EC members, it was great. So we actually cleaned out as you walk down the path to the right across from the Pollinator Garden, so we do have room for some memorial trees now. We have some we kind of cleaned out, so there is some space there. So, if anybody wants to do that. And the national area is having a cleanup actually the same weekend at the fourth, April 26th, 27th, but in the morning in the natural area. If anybody wants to do that. It's fun.
Okay.
April 26th and 27th.
Yep, it's from, I think 11 to 1.
All right. Thank you, Bonnie. Arbor Day.
Arbor Day
Mike
is
D'Angelo.
Friday, April 25th. Right before level of the day. So, my one question, Bonnie, were you planning on doing any plantings you and Mark this year for Arbor Day or leading up to it?
We what?
Leading up to Arbor Day or actually on the day?
I know Mark had talked about maybe getting some seedlings. Chrissy, did you hear from, the tree recovery, whatever the, you know, where
Oh, yeah, I used to get that.
yeah, so I'm
I
not
haven't heard
sure.
anything.
I Googled it, I didn't see anything about 2025. So I don't know
Those
if
are
we
the
have
ones you
anything.
and Robin passed out?
Yeah, and yeah, it was kind of
They
tricky because we
weren't,
changed
yeah.
locations and, yeah, so I don't,
I haven't
mean,
seen anything.
I'm
Maybe
happy
because
to go-
we decided not to get them. You guys
No, we-
decided to stop getting them.
no, but we got them last year.
But
So,
that was, okay, the same thing.
and I sent in the report and said how many we gave away and pictures and all that stuff. So anyway, I'm happy to pick them up at Rutgers, that's where they usually hand them out.
I'll look through
But
past
just see if they
There's
do
an
that.
opportunity.
So we don't have any definite plans. But that's what I was thinking, it's too early doesn't coordinate with resident tree buying in Arbor Day.
Yeah.
But
regardless, I mean, I think you did last year, maybe the year
We did.
before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, we did the Christmas tree and the Salem Oaks last year.
Right. This year, obviously, we'll do the library event. It's usually on a Tuesday, which is children's time. That's it's for the sickles age kids. And there'll be a tree theme again. And then for the Knollwood age kids will be the poster contest again. Hopefully all grades will participate. I'm thinking of starting the contest on March 17th. And having it due on actual Arbor Day, which is the 25th. And then the week after, I think our next meeting will be Wednesday, the May 7th, when we can pick the winners. And then announce it and have the winners come to our meeting on June 4th. So I'll have that all in email, send that to you, Christy.
Wasn't there something that was gonna increase, like one of the art teachers is gonna get them all?
Leah
She
went
said-
for a meeting.
Yeah, Leah
Yeah,
got that.
Leah was gonna do
Yeah.
that. I don't know.
Yeah, she said she talked to somebody. And they
Oh,
were gonna
good.
try to.
Yeah, so
hopefully get
it'd be
that.
nice, because it was, it's kind of scattered. Our kids' grade, there was one submission, which was my son.
Well, it's an elective, so in sixth, seventh, and eighth, you can elect not to take art.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Regardless, well, hopefully we get more participation, so, yeah,
Make it a homework assignment. They have to.
I mean, but, yeah, it's always been successful. I think we've always had some fun with it, and especially when the winners in each grade come here for a photo opportunity in June, so. Right before they graduate next summer. And that's about it.
All right, sounds good. I have a request, little birdie told me, gave me a suggestion that they thought maybe, Nicholas Creamery would be better than Canyon Path.
Ooh. Okay,
Something along those lines.
yeah, all right, do that. What does everybody think about that? We've done Canyon Pass every year, but, sometimes there's not a lot of stuff for
Long
fifth,
Hills.
sixth graders, yeah, at Canyon Pass, so.
Is
That's not a bad
$50.
Is that to be
idea.
either or? Can it be both?
Usually we get a PO for right through the borough ahead of time, so I don't know,
It's worth a shot.
yeah,
Maybe see if we can get two instead of one.
yeah.
Years past, it was one winner per grade, so it's 5 times $50. So
Yeah.
you could always do more prizes, with less money.
Right.
Or you guys decide.
That's
what
true, we could
you
do
wanna
top
work
2 in each grade and then have a $25 gift certificate when we use the same budget. I think Sickles is a good idea.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, we can switch it up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know what, now in my head, my wheels are turning. Maybe we can get Miss Edwards to do like a tree themed ice cream for that time.
Spruce.
I don't know how she could do it, but she's done so many crazy different flavors that I'm sure she could come up with something.
Acorn ice cream.
That's actually a phenomenal idea. I think I would wanna play with that.
Yeah.
Cause doesn't, one of the schools does like, make your own ice cream, right?
They all do.
They all
in the
do.
area.
And then don't they like
Oh, the,
actually make
Bronson-
it
Bronson
based on which
Country
one
Day.
sells the most or
They
something?
make all of them and they
Yeah.
pick the winner and then they actually make it for the next year.
I love that idea.
Yeah,
Oh my God,
No,
that's gotta be
I-
so cute
The way
for,
school
for,
district gets $2,500.
yeah. So I will speak to Mrs. Edwards about that, because I'm sure she would love to do something.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, as long as it's okay, like sometimes when we isolate businesses in Borough, it gets a little sticky. I'm not sure. What do you think?
I think it'd be okay.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, it's all gonna be above board. There's gonna be, yeah, I'm not concerned about it.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll reach out to her. That's a good idea.
yeah.
Good idea. That'll be fun.
Sounds good.
I think what other flavors you would have. Black walnut.
Just the naming of them
Yeah.
alone is.
Something
Maple,
that has
maple syrup.
some maple syrup.
Sugar,
Yeah.
sugar, yeah,
Yeah.
sugar maple, yeah.
Sure.
Brown
See,
milk
it could be
cookie
so
dough?
cute.
Yeah, yeah.
We're ice cream, la la land.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Mike. Community outreach is, we'll skip over. We're moving on to resident education and awareness, back to me. I actually put together a list of some bullet points that I meant to email to Christy and forgot, and therefore I just have an old school piece of paper with some ideas on them. I wanted to keep them simple, bullet points. I'm thinking. 5 bullet point. I don't know if you were here when we were discussing this originally. We're thinking about, a plan to put signage out or have people come up and pick up signs.
Yep.
Give them away. Put them on their yard, in front of a tree, maybe in front of their house or whatever. With a QR code that hopefully will grab people's attention and maybe they'll scan it and it'll just bring them to a link where it's got quick bullet points of, tree facts,
Love it.
benefits to the, the environment, the immediate area. Just something that, keeps people thinking about trees. So I was just putting together a list, doing a little bit of research. I don't know if anybody wants to hear some of these, or if anybody has any ideas or knows any tree facts by now. We should all know some tree facts, I guess, by now.
Tell us, John.
What's this I gotta research this guy before I agree to do this.
Regale us, Mr. Fenwick, with these tree facts.
Oh, God, spirit, you're right, Christy. I don't know if I'm gonna be able, to keep
No,
the
you
spirit
don't.
that long. Christy won't even kiss me. Now I'm pretending to be another guy. This is getting weird. Oh, man.
John.
This is great.
It's all be recorded. Anyway. Mature evergreen tree can intercept. That was her word, that's weird. More than 3,900 gallons of water every year. Evergreen, do you know that, Bob?
I know they almost like just disperse it and slow down runoff.
And according to Penn State School of Agricultural Science, a single mature oak can consume and transpire, which means over 40,000 gallons of water in a year. A lot of water.
Was it deep roots?
40,000.
Yep.
That's-
Trees also transpire. I don't know if anybody knew about this. They can suck up the water and then over time they release it back into the environment by leaves.
Mhm.
They sweat.
They cool the air.
Guess what? Essentially, they cool the air. Yeah. Average tree can collect 22 pounds of carbon dioxide per year. And there were also some physical and mental health facts about trees. They're doing a study at the University of Michigan. Hospital patients with rooms with overlooking trees and good views recover quicker than hospital rooms with no view.
Believe that.
They reduce stress and anxiety amongst young people. So it goes on, but
Question.
yes.
So, love the idea. Are there? When we get to the location of the QR code.
Mhm.
I'm thinking like, what about on Third Street the trail side or Fairhaven Field side, right? Like, how like we have like the wooden signs?
Sure.
So if we just have like a QR code there. And people can scan it, right, as they're going about.
Sure.
Just
You
thought.
can put one there or.
This QR code is it's so passive, right? It's not
Right.
obstructive whatsoever.
Yep.
I would want to think through like who's updating it. So every time you're scanning it, maybe it's updated once a week, once a month, right? So it's not just the same information over and over.
Right.
I don't know if they have like an RSS feed, I'll call it for tree facts,
Right.
but just a thought process,
Yeah,
right?
it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Haven't gotten that far yet, but.
Sorry, John,
But it's good.
let's slide.
Could you give the kids some of
Pretty
these
bummer.
things and have them write the message and then draw whatever the artwork it's having something to do with the wonderful tree fact? I don't know, like an educational.
Oh,
I
with,
could-
with relation to Arbor Day?
Yeah,
I
and
could
just
submit some of these
Okay.
tree facts and they
Yeah,
could use
I
them
mean,
as a guide.
if they wanted
Yeah.
to do that,
Yeah.
yeah. Just to get more, I mean, it's nice that they learn something when they're doing
Oh,
it,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely, yeah. Would you like me to pass along my tree facts to you?
Do you know, when I was at the Shore Area Shade Tree meeting, they said that, Bill Brash does, education, because you were talking about education, he does an educational program for them every year. And they get CEU points for it, so he does this, so he's gonna be working with us, maybe he would do one in town, I don't know, tree trimming or something like that. It'd be
Okay,
worth asking.
Yeah.
them.
And we
Maybe
can
they're
tie it to
seminars.
sustainability and see if there are points
Mhm.
from a sustainability perspective on some type of
Sample version.
educational outreach from that perspective.
Yeah, because we were just
Yeah,
talking about,
we could, yeah, we'll ask Bill, the
yeah,
notes here, we'll ask him when we see him at the next meeting.
Guys, another question.
Sure.
I just did, but I'm gonna ask another. And I'm not trying to be funny.
Sure.
No, no. What is the purpose of resident education? Specific to trees?
So. It's kind of along like with the tree ordinance, all right, there was, as you know. Pretty contentious debate. And I thought one of the best ways to kind of. Work through all that is just to kind of create just a mindset around town. That. You need to appreciate trees, or you should appreciate trees. And people moving into town should understand that you're moving into town. A town of people that appreciate trees, and they're not something to just come in, buy a new house, or, renovate a new house or whatever, and just mow down your trees in your backyard.
Right.
Just give people pause and some,
So-
thought. And some-
Value associated with it.
Yeah.
I also think, isn't it part of our role as Shade Tree Commission? I think we have kind of an education requirement. We're supposed to.
Oh,
No, no, no,
Well, yeah.
I totally get that, I understand what's mandated, right, what I'm getting at is that there's a certain behavior. That we're trying to. Have these residents. We're trying to achieve something, right, like, we're not just picking random data points, just putting out there and hope people read it, right, like. We want people to retain trees on their property, we want people to plant trees on their property, we want. Right, we are looking, right, it's one thing to say we're mandated to do research, right, or mandated to do education. But what are we ultimately trying to have the resident do, right? And so anytime I think of messaging, right, I always think of who's my target audience.
Mhm.
Right? How do I reach that target audience? And what themes am I trying to publicize that will resonate with them, right?
Sure.
And so I guess I don't really have an ask out of this as more of there needs to be purpose and intent behind it and what we're trying to achieve. And then ultimately what you want to do is how can I measure how successful I am, right?
Mhm.
So if you did the QR code, for example, all right, cool, I had 150, snaps or clicks, whatever it was, right? That's a measure, right? Maybe out of 150, there's an opportunity for follow-up. Maybe out of those 150, there's an opportunity by a resident tree to participate in the resident tree brighting program, right? I would start thinking through like specific outcomes that we're looking for in our education and then work backwards from that. Because we want to put things in place to see how effective our messaging is.
Mhm.
And so a parallel that I'm drawing is whether you're educating on facilities, right? Or you're trying to gauge insights in how residents feel on topic X, right? There's just a little bit more there, and I'm more than happy to dive into with you.
Sure.
So appreciate it, Lenny.
No, it's a good idea. I didn't think about the, measuring the results on the other side of it, but really, I'd like to just build an awareness and, the sign itself, and I'm not an elaborate sign, I'm thinking like, like a temporary open house signs or those political signs that you see everywhere.
Yeah,
Use one of those, but just build an awareness if, if enough people come to pick them up and they are just scattered about town, it's not the right word, but like everybody, when you
create a
see
buzz.
them on every 3 or 4
Yeah.
homes, all of a sudden this awareness starts to build, I think.
so just because now I've got the creative juices going. Way back when you can get flamingoed?
Yeah.
Did you know the flamingo? What if you created like something like that, right? I'll use the metaphor, right? So there was this whole, I don't know what you call it, Chrissy, like movement or whatever, but there was a bunch of flamingos, literally flamingos they put in the ground
And it flopped.
and they flocked and they
Yeah.
went from house to house and right, so like you wanted to see where did the flamingos go, right? So what
Your
if
friend
they're,
had gifted to you, you didn't know it, just showed up in your yard one day, but all the money went to a very good cause.
So what if you had a forest, right? And you got, planted one day and then you wanna see who gets planted next, right? Like, I'm just trying to think of.
Right.
Of what has resonated in town so that you get people to participate, number one. And then number two is what information do you associate with that, right? Maybe a couple of the plantings, right? Have QR codes and they click on it, hey, this is a white oak, this is a red oak, this is a that, I'm just. Trying to help achieve the goal, which is, I think the education is great, I think the awareness is great, and I think what we wanna see is we wanna see change.
Mhm.
Right, I wanna see people planting more, I wanna see more resident, if we do these memorial, I wanna see huge participation in it, right? You wanna grow that movement. So
Sure, absolutely.
I just offer
One of
that,
the town, Bradley Beach said they nominated Tree of the Month, so like, they'll say, Drew's maple tree is being honored this month or whatever, probably not, it's in Norway, I'm sorry.
but
I'm
yeah,
so sorry, I'm just sorry, but we could, you saved it, but I know, I
it's striking
know.
nerve.
It's
did.
Norway, I know, I'm sorry, but we don't.
I mean, the
work
guy's spitballing here.
well.
And
You know what?
he's
Just
You know,
like-
So.
You chop it down, stay that way, maple here.
No, she did.
I'm looking for planted a tree in your front yard. Good plan.
No, I love that, I love that idea, right,
Yeah.
like,
But I mean, like, we could highlight. I don't know, tree, like you just nominate like tree of the month. I mean, it's a lot of work and Leah, I don't know if she wants to do that on Instagram, would that be?
You have the residents there, you put it on them, that's why if you got flamingoed, it was on that resident to then go flamingo somebody else, so like.
So if
You
you
put
get a tree in your yard, you have to send in information on your tree?
No, yeah, maybe like, hey, like you got treed or something, I don't know, and right?
Count
you,
your
like,
trees, report back, tell us what they're going.
I just think you make fun. And
That's
then,
interesting.
then fun leads to learning.
Yeah, make it fun.
Make learning fun.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
You do it on a photo tree. Just one quick
Um,
thing,
yeah.
we have ventured there before with caring for trees, not so much education and planting of trees, but. We had a program a couple of years ago where we sent out flyers about the dangers of ivy growing on trees. And it would have been nice to, to evaluate how many people actually listened to that advice and then actually cut the ivy on their trees around the
Yeah.
property. Because we have like, yes, planting is great but also maintenance and care of your current trees is actually, I would say, even more important. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you, right? Like I look out my backyard and I'm not gonna call out a specific neighbor.
Right.
There's like a beautiful row of trees and they're all covered in ivy. And I
Yeah.
just wanna go to them and say like, just cut it, let it, let it
Oh,
die.
I've done that with my neighbors, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially because you could say to them, listen, there are children in this neighborhood. The more this ivy grows on this tree, the more susceptible it is to damage to the tree, and you don't want.
Or fall.
Yeah,
Like what
exactly,
happened
that
to-
damage eventually fall, and you don't know which way that's gonna
Take
fall.
pictures of the tree.
Yeah.
So I have no problem, like I tell my neighbors all the time, like
The
that could be a
ivy
danger, we have a lot of kids and animals and pets and
And in the
families
woods,
here.
Yeah.
Damage to
And there's
houses,
plenty out
that's,
there.
And it's all about like creating
Do
that
this
momentum,
before this
right? So
happens.
maybe you create an incentive, like, hey, like I come to you, hey, you got, 2 pieces of ivy and then you need to pay it forward, then you go, to the next, like, I don't know, there's always ways to engage, right? There are, and you want to be able to measure the success of what you're doing.
right.
The resident tree buying program is fantastic. How many trees were bought last year? Do you know?
Yes, 75.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I would then say, how many have survived? Right?
That's a good question.
I would then say, like, what are and then let's say we have an 85% success rate, right? 15% died off just because of natural, like, that's huge, man. Put that information out there. Hey, we had 75 trees last year, it's up X amount of percent, and out of those 85, this many, you're actually making an impact, right?
Right.
Then you could tie to the environmental tree inventory, ERI, excuse me.
Well, the environmental commission is ERI, we're tree inventory.
All right, I'm conflating, my apologies, but my point is that like, you can tie it all together and it just makes that much of a success story, so.
Absolutely.
I'm more than happy to help,
But I completely agree with you. We have to sort of evaluate how we did if we're gonna integrate a program. That we have to see like what the outcome is, and it should be something measurable, like you said, which would be nice.
100%.
Yeah.
So, if you guys want frameworks on this stuff, I've done large scale messaging, I'll call it before.
Right,
So I'm more than happy to kind of give you frameworks and help you guys along.
thank you.
All right, appreciate it. Yeah, that's what I have for now. Calendar updates, Peter's not here, we are going to move up to Bonnie's favorite subject, tree removal.
Oh, sorry, here you go.
Get my tissue out.
We play tabs. Unfortunately.
This, the whole, this is
This is
including,
very-
By the way, while we're passing these, anybody see on Facebook, someone had mentioned there's a whole bunch of trees that were cut?
that Meadowbrook,
Yes,
Meadowbridge, excuse me, yeah. Seen the picture?
no,
I have a picture, a drone picture, it's horrifying.
I have no doubt that you would not.
I was wondering what that was today.
Oh, it's awful. Well, so I think the idea, they got that huge grant for $150,000. There used to be just one entrance into the parking lot and everybody got all clogged up for sporting events and they're like going out. So I think they're gonna make some sort of 2 entrances and they're expanding, they're doubling the parking lot, something. So they had to take all the trees down.
Hey, Christie, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So out of these 16.
Yeah.
Which ones wouldn't have been approved under the previous ordinance?
That's
That would be a
a
shared
tough
thing.
question.
Obviously, all the hazards, they would.
Hazards are,
Hazard.
yeah, removal dead, obviously, right?
The only way that it would not be approved is if it was a percentage of your,
Lot coverage,
yeah.
cause
or
I'm curious,
significant.
I'm curious on the first one, construction, number 3. I don't have any insights into why the holly
That's
remains.
Nativity Church, they had some planting issues.
They're the ones that, and they're gonna replant, where they're gonna replant all these, the resident tree vine, right?
Yeah,
Where they
he
took
called
these
about
out.
samples today, so I told them I'd send them the information when it's out next week.
And Bonnie, what do you think about Cooney? Cause I've seen that lot and that lot is leveled. Were there trees there before?
Where's 11 Cooney? I haven't been down there, I haven't walked down there.
Walk by, cause the lot is.
Oh, is
cleared.
is it on the river?
Yes, I mean, even the house is gone, so it's completely cleared. But I'm like, were there trees there before? Cause there's nothing there now. And they're rebuilding the foundation. It says 1 London Plain.
You wouldn't see it here, it would have to be on like the planning board or
Yeah.
something.
I'm thinking of, they came to the zoning board and they wanted to straighten out the driveway, I believe, in the tree removal plan.
Okay.
So here's my question, right? Number 1 is a 1-for-2 ratio, right?
Yeah.
1 tree to 2. There's no replacement for number 2. I thought that the ordinance, whatever you took out, you had to replace.
Mhm.
Unless it's dead. Or,
Do you know
It's
Little
not- it's not
Silver
a
makes
hazard.
you, they have, even if it's a hazard, you can plant another one?
Yeah, hold on, I just want, so
This is just interesting.
So
I
the
know.
current so Chrissy, real quick, I just wanna finish my train of thought. So the current ordinance, if it's a hazard, you don't have to replace it,
correct.
Correct.
okay? And then how come, if you look at 15 and 16. 4 hemlock, 1 dead apple, only 2 trees, 1 evergreen, 1 sweet gum, 1 silver maple, is the assumption is that because they're already dead, you don't need to replace it?
Like, for example, in 15.
Yeah,
4 and 1, so apparently one of the hemlocks was a removal, the rest of the hemlocks and then the apple were dead.
Okay,
So you do not have to replace if it's dead. Hazard.
we should think about
diseased.
that though. Because most of the trees that are on this report are classified as hazard.
And Sherry goes there and looks at them and she makes the determination.
so I'm not challenging the CTE's reason, right, or anything like that.
Yeah.
The original intent, right, was that. For everyone that's taken down, 2's put up, and so that over time. There should be an increase. What this data over the first 3 months shows me is that that's not. What's happening, because majority of the trees that are coming out are considered hazardous or dead.
Mhm.
Okay. Chris, can we have an offline conversation
Sure.
on this data and then I'll just leave it at that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Thank you, Christy. This is great.
I think if,
phenomenal.
as we're getting into the spring, there's been a lot more applications filled out, and I think maybe like in this, like halfway through the year, after 6 months of data, might go have a real fruitful conversation about the process and the applications.
So curious, all of these hazard, Sherry has been out to the house.
Mhm.
And who paid for Sherry?
The borough,
Why? I thought we were trying to pass that on to the,
We paid majority of it, but there's a small fee associated with the tree permit application.
Application.
there's a $50 application fee and then an on-site fee of $25, an inspection fee.
Doesn't
the
cost.
Sherry thing, so we make 25?
So we collect 75 per application.
And Sherry costs.
40,
An hour.
an hour, exactly.
And so how much time does she's, I mean, I'm just trying to decide, are we covering our Sherry costs?
I think the borough takes on more of the costs associated with this. I mean, Sherry does a really good job of trying to, that's why if you look at these dates. Right, there were
Doing
3 on
well.
the 13th, 3 on the 3rd. You know, she'll try and hold off as long as she can, because when she travels here, that's cost. She's here, that's cost, and or there's
She
some,
does them in clumps.
yeah.
Would it make sense to follow up with these people who have taken a tree out of the property? With saying, you know, we do have a resident tree.
I do that.
You do
I
that.
go back
Yeah,
to
that's
list
all.
from like
Okay, so you
as
do
far
send,
back data as I have of people taking trees down, I send them the flyers.
and has anybody,
Yeah,
go good,
Yeah.
That's
okay,
where a lot of them come from.
yeah,
from the hazard taking down,
You
okay,
make it
good.
so easy.
yeah.
Spend this money, put here,
Okay, yeah, so
like,
that's-
check, done, like,
Right,
it's
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it's,
And I love the add-on
Washington
idea,
tree,
the Hercules bag, like, sorry, I'm getting off track.
the gator bag.
They cater
The
bag,
most important thing, that is important, but the trunk. Every new tree I see that's not protected has buck row. And it's a killer, it's gonna kill the tree. So, it's hugely important that they do that.
We can't make them.
I don't know, but you know what, I almost think if Fernbrook is guaranteeing the tree. Right? They should require it, because it's protecting the tree that they're gonna have to replace if it dies.
They're not gonna replace it if you don't take care of it properly.
Hmm.
Right.
That's not part of their guarantee.
The buck rub is, so if you said it got buck rub, they wouldn't. That's
You
kind
can't
of,
control the deer.
no, but it's a very
Yeah.
easy solution to put this thing on. I'm
True, but
thinking-
it's not Fernbrook's responsibility to.
Okay, I just was curious, I didn't know who, I know the one tree died, that sweet bed magnolia that I repurposed and put in the natural area, but, I don't think that was buck rub, I think they just didn't water it.
hey,
Anyway,
Mike, to loop something that we talked about before.
Mhm.
So if there was another column here added, and you put participation in resident tree barn program. Then you can measure full cycle, when the tree permit, communication, reach out, and then if they participated, if it was effective.
Now pictured here, there's many more columns, including the replacement date that they sent me a picture, or I write spring rewrite program or whatever.
oh, you did?
There's your measures.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Yep.
Good.
So quick question, because I might get asked, for those add-ons you mentioned, the gator, and will those be installed by Fernbrook, or they'll just be, like, their purchase will be left to the residents?
That's a good question. I didn't clarify that with them, but I will.
I bet there's
Yeah.
a-
I mean, all they said about the gator bags is that they're not filling them with water. Like the resident has to do that themselves, so, yeah, I'll ask,
Thanks. I just imagine somebody will.
Okay. Moving on to the tree ordinance appendix A, last time we met. I was gonna speak with the attorney or county attorney regarding. What changes we can make to the appendix without causing. A big to-do. I did speak with him and he said that, you know, changes to our recommendations. Recommended tree list, you know, or that link, is perfectly acceptable to him. We're not changing, you know, the meat of the ordinance, the law of the ordinance or anything like that. He said, it's your recommendations, you can go ahead and update them, change them, you know, implement what you want on that end.
Did you see what I sent you?
Yep, I did say that, I was gonna bring that up, it seems like a good list, and I think we could, it would be very good. I mean, number one, it was put out by Monmouth County Shade Tree Commission, right? And, you know, we, just Bonnie forwarded me a list from the Monmouth County Shade Tree Commission they put out. I mean, that was a new list, new
That was
updated.
from the shore area shade tree.
Okay.
They sent.
So,
Yes.
So it's all up-to-date information, all up-to-date recommendations for Monmouth County. I think it would be a very good list, a very good reference, and I think we should use pretty much all of it. The only thing I didn't like about it was they did list non-natives.
Yeah, non-natives and.
And the shrubs, yeah,
We
I
just
mean,
would
it's
love that.
still no problem, so we could, I think if we. Christie, is there any way, you were on that email, could you
Yeah.
pop that? Kind of a long list, but. You get the idea. But I think if we remove the shrubs, bushes, and, non-natives. I think we have something pretty good.
One thing about the native, non-native thing, I know we want to encourage them. But we also had this initiative where we were, going to
Planting
Fairhaven
cherry
Road
trees.
with planting cherry trees. And that's
Yeah.
something that we're offering,
Mhm.
Yep,
in the resident tree buying program, most of what we're offering is native, with the exception of two things. So it kind of like, the
yeah,
messaging there is a little
a
off.
little off,
Yeah,
For sure.
so I guess my thought would be like. Maybe you identify on this list which ones are native versus non-native,
Mhm.
and say
Well,
that we
it-
recommend natives, but don't necessarily say that you
Yeah.
can't not.
they do,
That is what they do
Oh,
here.
yeah, I see,
Yeah.
so I mean, couldn't we just have the language where we say we recommend
sure,
natives?
natives, sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, without, because somebody might look at this and wanna put a Quonset tree cherry in their
Mhm.
yard and be like, oh, I can't do that, I think
Yeah, so
that's
we
like
should
really
put that.
like.
So encourage the natives, I just thought, I mean, there was. Quite a bit listed here,
Mhm.
Right.
and,
It's interesting, it's all draft too.
I don't-
know.
maybe we wanted to thin out the non-natives, and just,
Yeah,
Yeah, like,
just-
like,
Because I mean, there was
there's
like,
some things that we definitely don't want, like a Norwood maple.
Yeah, there's a, I can't even remember, is there a?
Norway.
Do not, yeah,
Yeah, I don't know if that's
do
on
not plant list, we definitely, I think, should have a do not plant.
Well, we
Like,
could-
like a calorie pear, any pear, and they name them different things, like Cleveland pear and something else, they try to fake you out, but they're all calorie pear, and that should not be planted, it's highly invasive.
But they wouldn't be recommending in the.
I'm just saying, if you had it, definitely do not plant like that.
Is there anything on here that they do not plant it?
I'm wondering if they have, I can't remember if they have a do not plant list.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't see.
They had
anything that says do
recommended-
not plan, it just has levels of.
Yeah, but I mean, they have like Zelkova, I mean.
Does
plant
suggested tree though mean that it's native? And the reason I ask that,
Recommended.
as so as I've worked with multiple landscape architects and arborists for this facilities projects. There's always the topic that comes up sometimes, that if you have a mature non-native
Mhm.
that isn't destructive.
Right.
It's better keeping that in
sure, yeah,
than taking it down. And so I think most folks automatically go to non-native bad, right? And that's not always necessarily true. So I think, I love it, I think updating is great, but I also think providing some practicality in the sense of non-native doesn't necessarily mean it's 100% bad, it just might not be
Sure.
the preferred tree or whatnot to go into.
yeah.
Yeah, it says some acceptable non-native species.
Yes,
Okay.
so that's how they put it, yeah, I thought it was kind of nicely,
And that's why I think calling it suggested trees as opposed to only plant natives, here's a
Yeah.
list of suggested
right,
trees.
you probably can't.
I,
see.
no, I can
Yeah.
read what's here, but what I'm telling you, that's been telegraphed to the public before in Fairhaven. Has been it's either native or non-native,
Mhm.
right, and always go native.
Right,
And when you take that and you talk to the professionals about it, it's not always that black and white.
So
Right.
what,
Yes,
I agree,
yeah,
yeah,
agreed,
I agree,
yeah.
yeah.
I like the language acceptable non-natives, like that.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
That
Yeah,
kind of
smooth
makes
it over,
sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
So, going forward, I mean, if everybody's. Integrate, I know we don't have to do it now, we don't have to make any changes, I mean, we still wanna keep this out, and if we do use this, we're gonna wanna. Modify it somewhat,
Yeah,
but. Long story short, that's the answer, we can. We have a lot of sway here that we can
I just thought
make
it
a
was,
change.
this was
and-
helpful
and make
because
an
other
update.
towns.
Yeah,
use
no,
it.
it is, it's very good, I think it's good, very good, simple, straightforward.
Yeah,
Wording's
grouping
nice.
them too,
Yeah.
like with the definition of like where they would be.
Where
put in
they-
plan.
Right,
Yeah.
which is, was very helpful, yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good. All right, that's all I got for that. Gonna move on to our council update. That's you.
Yes, fantastic. I have been told that there's some questions on the landscaping for new facilities projects. So what I've sent to Christie is a couple of the slides specific. So if you guys are on board, I'll go over to that TV, kind of talk through where we're at. It's been 2 years, give or take, since all of the work was done. So I'll kind of level set on how we arrived where we are, what the next steps are, and field any questions that you might have. That sound good?
Okay.
Can we see it from here? Is that-
Yeah, I'm just down there.
When is the DPW gonna start? It's gonna be the spring planting?
Started,
They planted,
site work has started, but planting has to happen in the spring.
but do the, I said they didn't do the fence first.
And fences last. I'll give some
That's
updates.
interesting.
Yeah, there's been some developments in a really positive way.
Okay,
So I'll start at DPW, if you go to the second slide. And we can post this on the website, right? This is all. So this is, the
I
DPW
can't see that.
land, yeah, just go forward, the DPW landscaping plan. This is Allen Street, right? This is Third Street, this is Maple Avenue. The plan on Allen and Third has already been approved. We coordinated with Shade Tree back when we did this, environmental, open houses, and then we followed a 2-tier professional process. So we always ensured that whoever the landscape architect of the design team always had to coordinate with our CTE to make sure that there's always checks and balances with what's best for Fairhaven, just to go back to like the process from way back when. Here, this has not been approved yet. Originally, there were 4 trees going in here, so this guy, that guy, that guy, and that guy. Those are the only 4 that were supposed to go in, because when the original assessment of Maple Avenue was done, there was a significant item missed, which was, there was probably 13 trees in here, that when they were planted however many years ago, they had a strap around them, and it's called girdling. And basically what happens is if you don't take the strap off the tree starts to go around it, and it creates a hazard that if there's a strong enough wind, the tree snaps. So we've been spending a tremendous amount of time engaging with the residents on Maple Avenue. We've worked with 2 landscape architects, a certified tree expert. The goal is to get to some type of resolution with installing planting here to help ensure that, you know, over the next 3 to 7 years that a buffer grows. The reason it's taking so long, just to kind of put it in perspective, the original quote for this landscaping, and what was going here was 66 grand. And then this original, the original one that went in here, the first quote we got back was 98 grand just for that side.
No,
So we
that's, That's insane.
I'm giving you the data points as to why, like, we're like, okay, we've gotten it down to 48,000, right? But this, all of this was 66. And now they're just saying, you know, this side was 48. So long story short, that's what's caused some of the delay. Is that 1, we want to make sure we're fiscally responsible. 2, we want to try and ensure that we're getting it and planting it. We won't be able to plant what was there. There were trees that were 40, 50 feet tall. But at least giving it the greatest chance to grow into a landscaping buffer. Just to give an update as of today. 2 things I'll highlight. See these 2 little systems on either end. These are the stormwater systems. All the water off of the building goes into these, so it's a net zero impact. And that's a significant improvement from
And
before.
where does that drain to?
I think,
Is that, were you gonna put a catch basin out front? Like on Third Street, on that side?
we'll get there, we'll get there.
Okay.
I forget what these are, I'm sure they're recharging naturally back in. I don't know what Atlas calculation they did it to. If they did it to the Atlas 100, it recharges at an inch and a half per hour. But I'd have to go back and look at the actual, but the whole goal was to make sure that we were, only enhancing the stormwater infrastructure. We redid a ton of work here to enhance the stormwater infrastructure. Getting to this side, this fence, right? Where's the fence line? This fence line, this fence used to be 40 feet to the left here. So we actually shrunk the site. Primary reason to do that was because it's an industrial site, a residential area. So if I can make it smaller, that reduces the size of an industrial area in a residential area. And so what we did here was we enhanced what the berm and what was going in here, put trees here. This, I won't call it a catch basin. This actually collects whatever runoff comes from here, so you can see the topography. So whatever runoff comes here, right, this is all engine oil, right, gas, right, pick whatever particles and stuff that you want. This is actually meant to catch the pollution before it feeds and whatnot. So this is a whole system designed to do that.
So it's dispersing it into that area and not letting.
It's
it go
not
into the
dispersing
street.
it, it holds, it holds all of the runoff from here and ensures that none of the pollutants from the parking lot that it captures then get into the system.
But, okay, then do you have to clean it out?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what if you just ran it, right now, where's it going?
Well, so
Into the
the,
street?
no, it goes into the infrastructure out here, but you can't just let all the pollutants from the parking lot go into the.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, right now, are they running out into that? That's just a big open place. I mean, I don't know, you're not doing anything, that's just gonna be a green space, right, on Third Street?
Yeah,
That whole big-
this is all, we're enhancing the green space here, right?
I mean, it just, I don't know. I thought you could just run it in and just disperse it in a rain garden and let it.
No, we originally were gonna do a
Oil
rain
and
garden here,
gas,
but it's
diesel
oil,
and
yeah.
That's what I'm asking, what are you doing now? It's just going.
That's what it's designed for. It's designed to catch that. So
I know.
whatever, I can't speak to. I'm
Yeah,
not
so I mean, we've been
professional.
violating stormwater with this up until this time.
No, this has been there.
That's been there
Yeah.
and they clean it out?
This was considered an area of concern and we just went through and cleaned it out and everything and got the clean bill up on it.
I don't know.
It's been there from day one. Yeah, we're not violating anything. If anything, we're being proactive to ensure that any pollutants from the parking lot aren't going directly either into our green infrastructure, and that's why this is all stone here, right? Or while it's going into the actual downsink.
That's what I would be mostly concerned.
Yeah, 100%. So, where we're at now is, all the site work here, will be done tomorrow. Meaning,
Well, planting.
no, site work, right? We're getting ready for the planting, so there's a further bump out here, all new curb. And then the fence gets pushed back, it's 12 feet from the curb, to create a further landscaping buffer. And then Friday into Saturday, they're gonna finish all the site work here in preparation for planting. So once the site work is done here and here, all that remains is install the new fence. And then install the landscaping, and then the DPW is done.
So what are all those trees? I mean, I know they had that oak tree that's very like a column oak, I can't remember, it's a pillar oak or something? Is that
Yeah.
still in there and
There's a whole matrix that the CTE and the landscape architects put to.
did they change it from what we approved? before?
Negative. No, they didn't change any of that from here. And everything going here matches what was agreed to go in here from a native perspective. So none of that changed, right? So the planting types, the intensity, the maintaining of it is consistent throughout all three
Is
sides.
there a sprinkler system?
Negative. No,
Who's watering?
yeah, it's a maintainable thing. I mean, there's a
The water
year,
truck?
well, there's a year contract baked into it that Paul has to ensure that everything lasts for a year, and if it doesn't, to replace it. And the reason we picked a year, not only is it standard, but the reason I highlighted it is that the year provides enough time to ensure a proper transition from maintenance, right? From when you plant it to when it becomes ours to maintain fully. It's gonna look great.
Oh, so they're gonna water it for a year?
That's whether they do or
Well,
don't.
but
Yeah, they-
But what the contract calls out for, right, is that for the first year, right, there's a certain type of, I'll call it warranty, it's not the right word for it, but that's how I understand it. That goes into it.
Well, that, I mean. It would be really great if somebody was watching that closely, because otherwise, I mean, they might replace them, but then you've lost a year of growth, you've lost it, you know.
Totally agree, right? And what you're getting into is the operational management, right, which I can't speak to. Right, what I can tell you is that from an operational management perspective, the DPW right now is going through an overhaul. Because as this site officially comes online, as the new organizational structure comes into place. The management from a DPW perspective does have to be overhauled to take out this site, obviously the other site. There's significant changes that happened to the recycling center, so. This is PD. If you can just move back a little bit,
Which way?
zoom out, sorry.
Oh, okay.
No, I moved back, that made no sense, I apologize. It's been a long day, been up since 4. So here, all the consistent type of plantings, right? The beautiful thing about planning for all of this at the same time is that we kept maintenance, planting intensity, planting types, all consistent. There is a rain garden here, that we are putting in. This is a bio retention system. And then underneath the parking lot is a stormwater management system. The goal was that all of the water from the PD site and the parking lot that's going in was all captured. This I know is to the Atlas 100. So this recharges in at 1.25 inches per hour back into. And then you can see all the landscaping here, tremendous amount of landscaping. So here's the new path, right? That goes parallel. And that's from Fisk to the community center. You'll see new street trees up here because we're extending Fisk up here. And then the biggest item over here is that this property's fence had a 17-foot encroachment on this part and an 11-foot encroachment. So as we redo the parking lot, we're gonna redo here and put all the proper landscaping back and everything.
Drew, whose parking lot is that, the church or ours?
It's the churches, but we've established a partnership with them. And we have an easement on here. We're going to maintain the parking lot as a means of putting it there.
That's all new paving, because that's stone right now, right?
It is, the DEP doesn't, there is no material difference per the DEP between the packed asphalt and the packed stone right now. So, and that's per our stormwater management professional, Rick Lear. The other thing too, that's very important is that this entire property from a stormwater management perspective, they treat it as impervious and it's running everywhere. Everything from this parking lot, every single raindrop that hits this pavement goes into this catch basin. We catch it all. Every single raindrop that hits the roofs and this parking lot go into the stormwater system here, or the rain garden. So you can't make water disappear without having the proper stormwater system, but you can reduce it on the site and preventing it from going into the infrastructure. This is actually a fun fact for you guys. This is one of the oldest pieces of stormwater infrastructure in Fairhaven, is in this neighborhood.
And is it still working?
Still working, but now everything is defined differently based on
Yeah.
the storms and everything, like a 100-year storm as of today. The DP has updated all the storm values, right? They're current based on what the current volumes are now. So this is designed for an Atlas 100, maybe 70 years ago. This was designed for 100, but that was 70 years ago. And this is as of today, there's different volumes and everything, so.
Where's the current police station on that map?
Here.
Yeah.
Give or take. I'm not drawing the scale, but yeah.
Okay.
So both sites, we've exhausted, I mean, the process to get where we are was exhaustive. We're increasing stormwater management, ensuring the proper plantings go in. obviously reducing the site of DPW, so it's super exciting. So that's everything I got.
What about behind community center?
So that will have to be a phase 2 effort. This is all Green Acre property, which adds a whole other dynamic. The interesting thing though, so fun fact, just while we're on stormwater and landscaping, is what the professionals have told us is that if you want to have the greatest impact of stormwater management, because for the natural area is down here, right, somewhere, and the water flows from the natural area this way. And they say you want to put a stormwater system here, and you can actually make water disappear, which means you reduce and get out of the system. So we've been able to get a ton of evidence that's going to support what we do at community center fields, but that we won't start planning that until this is concluded. Just hopefully in 3 months. Months. April 1st, get PD in. Oh, knock on wood. She's gonna yell at me that I just said that out loud.
Yeah.
Do you have a date for demolition?
We have a date that we're targeting to take the building down. We're coordinating right now that probably, I'll confirm it tomorrow, middle of April. We just gotta make sure we kind of utility shop, because there's natural gas, electric, Verizon, all there, so. Cool beans. Good?
Thank you, Drew, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries.
Didn't we have a resident on Maple many years ago that was concerned about runoff into their backyard, and we said, let's not do anything too hasty because we're waiting on all of this.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be phase 2, because I know that they were unhappy.
Maple?
Yeah,
We planted trees behind their house.
yeah.
We did.
I don't know
We
if-
made good on our end.
I don't know if anything ever, was it effective? Did we ever follow up on that?
No,
Well, they're
trees were
brand new,
just
they're
put in.
brand new trees.
Can you find out the house for me?
Yeah,
Do you mind? Cause are you talking Maple Avenue next to PD or Maple Avenue next to DPW?
Very fast.
Yeah,
Peter.
it's right, it's right
Yeah.
behind the playground,
Okay,
behind the community
Like-
center.
Yeah,
Those are,
past the
they
basketball courts.
took trees down and they said they were gonna replace them and they never did.
okay, so it's not, okay, yeah, just send me the house number, cause
yeah. Do you
That's
remember
gonna
the,
be-
you remember the house number, Christie?
He's an environmental commission member.
Gary? Gary, I don't know his house.
Cause you got Fourth Water Creek that runs under there.
Yeah.
And then the speculation is, remember the tennis courts?
Hmm.
Speculation is that ran under, that's why the tennis courts always used to crack.
Yeah,
So those are now, that's gone now. What's gonna
Right.
go there remains to be seen, so
Right.
that helps absorb stormwater. And then both sites are having significant improvements, so I'm very curious to see what's the historical. And then hopefully we can measure,
yeah,
right,
right.
and see what happens. So
Yeah.
if you don't mind finding it for me.
It's actually good, we were wanting to make the water story, the town water story, an action for Istanbul, Jersey, and it's like just trying to figure out where the water's all coming from and the flow patterns. Yeah, it's
It's-
interesting, because there are a lot of streams and
It
underground.
is. And then when you put basements in and how that changed it, and then the other thing is the water table's rising, right? So like, how do you like, if we had a 200-year storm, Fairhaven would be underwater.
Hmm.
200, Sandy was a 100-year storm.
The whole town, really?
That's
Yes.
what the professionals tell me, that, is it definitive? No idea, but
Hmm.
our professionals they've been very accurate with everything, so I trust them. Cool. Thank you.
Good,
Yeah.
thank you, Councilman.
Good. Been a long slog, Drew.
Almost there.
Yes, you gotta be.
All right, new proposed agenda items. Anything, anyone?
I think
Anything?
you should just put the memorial tree
Yep,
thing on here as an official thing.
I was thinking about that, like while we're talking, I think. What would be super helpful is it's always easier to respond to something that's created than ask somebody to create it, right? And so as we think of locations around town, I start thinking of areas that maybe have meaning in town to residents, past, former, current, future. Right, so Fairhaven Fields, Community Center Fields, maybe the police department and Fish Chapel, right, given what that site represents in town. And so as we talk through the ideas, start thinking through areas in town that have meaning or that could have meaning. And that might be a good way to funnel down a short list of not only where we plant or where we can plant, or maybe we want to focus. So maybe community center north has a tremendous amount of value to somebody. We've always talked about trying to get trees on the path, right? Cause it gets so hot there, you can't put them on the fields, but you put them there. So maybe that's where you pair that, hey, this means a lot to me, I wanna put 5 trees, can I put it on the path or something like that? So I just offer that as
Yeah,
you.
it's a good idea.
So do we want to make that like tree locations or something like that? Should that be where we keep adding a list? Discussing, good, better, ideas of where to plant them, just keep running lists,
Sure. Memorial tree locations.
yeah.
Cause that'll be the first question, right? The council's gonna say, okay, love the idea, where do you wanna put them? Here, why do you wanna put them here? Okay. Next question is, how do you fund it, right? We have an idea. And then the third question will be is plaques and everything will be, who's gonna maintain it over time? Cause there's plenty of plaques that have been put out and they're cracking and whatnot, right? So
Right, yeah.
it's just a
I think that-
practicality you gotta take into account.
I think, just spitballing here on that, like if we decide, we kind of go with a recommendation, I've worked with Beacon a lot on memorial plaques for like things that are going out, like on Sandy Hook, like
Even better.
horrible environment. for
Yeah.
plaques.
Yeah.
But, like, they're expensive, but if we could say that, or, whatever they would recommend, this would last for an estimate of 10 years or
Yeah.
something like that, and kind of put a lifetime on it. And maybe they guarantee it for longer, but I think that needs to be a relationship with the vendor.
Totally.
With us. But we should direct that. and
Yeah.
Kind of put parameters around it.
Which I think is great, right? And there's a philosophy I always try to articulate, right? The innovation premium here is 0. We're not the first town to do a memorial vine program, we're not the first town to put up plaques and worry about maintenance. So the more that we can rely on others that have done it, learn from their mistakes, and then when we bring the cohesive plan together, it just makes it that much of that's not an argument, that much more of a stronger case of, yeah, we can do this, it's sustainable, the maintenance is gonna be minimal, et cetera, so.
Right, so I think the biggest, correct me if I'm wrong, like the biggest barrier to this would be, like, who's taking care of it?
Correct,
And then kind of like I thought that the plaque would be a thing, given that if you want to put a sign in your yard, you're supposed to put, like, get permission or something like that. So as long as we kind of define that,
yeah,
and that's acceptable, then the cost to the town would be
minimal.
in theory,
Yeah.
right? But if there's some barrier that I'm missing, like,
No, I
please.
love the add-ons that Bonnie said, right? If they come with gator bags.
Yeah,
They come with gator bags and the tree and the deer protection, right?
Yeah,
Then your watering goes from carrying 4 jugs every day for 3 months straight to maybe
Yeah.
you fill it up once a week. I don't know. I don't know. I'm making it up, right?
right,
And
and
then-
that could be something that's like required
Exactly.
in this type of thing, if it's going on public property, like, it's a required.
There's a solution here.
Yeah,
So just giving you food for thought, right? And then I don't know the right term, Bonnie, the thing that goes around the trunk.
it's just a trunk wrap, it's
You know,
just it's an anti-deer rug.
There you
Like,
go.
That's what it's.
How are you gonna ensure that the deer aren't gonna destroy the investment? Well, I'm glad you asked, as part of this automatically comes with it and it's been proven to, allow the tree to grow without deer, destroying it.
yeah.
I love it. I think it's a great idea. That's why I wanna help you. Thanks, Chris. Sorry, I keep interjecting.
Not at all.
Okay, can I?
What?
I just have one thing that I brought up at the shore area shade tree, which actually I also want to put in, the next meeting is on May 13th. If anybody wants to go.
Let me,
Um,
if you could put it on the calendar.
They have, it's interesting, they have it in the meeting before the council meeting from 6 to 7. So then the mayor comes in early and talks to everybody about everything going on, so it's kind of nice. They brought up this, it's called the Good Neighbor Planting Program. The DOT, Department of Transportation does this, and it allows the department through the Office of Landscape Architecture to address certain issues for residents on, it says state highways, but I think it's county roads. And 2 towns have gotten 3 trees planted down their roads, and the road I was thinking about was Ridge Road. And I was kind of thinking if we talk to Little Silver, because all those trees came down in front of, RBR. If you look, I was walking the dog down, the amount of trees that we have lost in front of, Fairhaven Fields, there are all these, where trees were, all down in front of the, natural area, we've been discussing. If you walk down that path on Ridge Road, the sound of the cars is so incredible, and they could use evergreens there. And so right at that point is where the wire switches over to our side of the street. So maybe plant some evergreens there. I don't know, it just, I reached out to this woman from DOT. I just said, we're interested. I didn't hear back. And I just didn't know if it was something that we might want to pursue, trying to get.
So the DOT is
Is
planting
in
the
charge,
trees?
yeah,
in charge
and
of
they
the
have
trees
money and you
just
apply
via
and,
request?
huh?
It's awesome.
Yeah, so okay, so I
Free
could,
money.
So call her again.
Keep going.
all right.
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure if, yeah,
My
it
only-
just sounds like, and I thought if we could coordinate with Little Silver, that'd be even better. I mean, it still kills me that RBR.
So-
And they cut them all down.
Let them do
The
their own
county
thing.
did that.
100%. My only feedback would be focus on our town with where we can go.
Yeah.
I understand that it was devastating for them to come down on that. But that was really the utility company, and it was in the jurisdiction of Little Silver, right? So I hear what you're saying. I love the partnership. I'm all for it, right? The more we can coordinate, the better. But I definitely think if there's areas, I would be good going there if we've exhausted where we want trees planted in some of our areas first.
I'm not sure what kind of trees I said, are they natives? I mean, I don't know what they plant, but we could definitely use some trees
Sure,
back there.
go get them.
Yeah,
And
Attack.
And also, I had gotten Chris's ear about it drives me crazy, the new sprinklers, little station right by the tennis courts in Fairhaven Fields that has a, chain link fence around it, and all the paths go right into it, because everybody wants to look at that when they're walking around.
what are you talking about?
I know, so many,
Behind the tennis courts of the Fairhaven Fields.
right kind of by the church.
On the path,
right
there's
by the-
a big metal box, big fenced in metal box that was put there, last year?
Pretty
And-
sure that was because that was getting destroyed, and isn't that the irrigation system?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
Right.
they redid the path, so
It's electric.
so it goes right, and I said to Dave Carl, I ran into him over there with my dog. And I said, could we plant some trees? And he said, yeah, there's so many water lines going into that, so. I said, okay, that makes sense, but then I said, could you redo the path so they don't lead right to it? And he kind of went. It wasn't my decision, okay, well,
Send a note to me and just say,
Yeah.
hey, when the DPW lays the new stone dust. Right, 'Cause
oh,
right, they're gonna do no stone dust, right, maintenance, right, spring comes alive, you wake the house up, right,
yeah.
so.
They
send
do
me-
that every year?
every spring, yeah.
I don't know if they do it every spring,
Okay.
but just send me the note and then I can get it over to the engineering DPW committee and just say, hey. Here's a practicality factor, and as you guys wake up the town, because it's now coming alive in spring. Is it possible just to change this a little bit and put some new stone dust and go from there?
Getting some trees.
If you have a picture, send me a picture.
I have a picture.
I know you do.
That's a rhetorical question.
Okay. I still want to plant trees at Cedar and Third. That baseball field, that corner is so bald and hot and awful.
Cedar and Third, the path next to that goes to the playground.
The corner,
yeah.
on the corner,
Mhm.
by the stands, like
Yeah.
that's something to shade.
Even by where the tennis courts used to be, right? So right outside the community center, so there's an awning, there's gonna be picnic tables, right? You have a clear view of the field, it's phenomenal. I should take pictures so I could show folks how awesome it is, gonna be able to sit at the back of the community center and watch your kids at the baseball
Oh.
field or at the playground.
Cool.
Imagine having a couple trees there and they get big
Yeah,
and
sure,
they're looking at
sure.
picnic, there's some beautiful trees out there that we could do, so.
Yeah, well, that's what we're all for it, we're talking about, we can do that anytime, we just gotta get. Your approval, council approval, because we were talking about behind home plate on Third, right, that's the one that area there, that corner.
Yeah, that corner, just. it was just so-
And then also kind of close to where you were talking, the path that now goes between the tennis courts and,
Tennis
what is that?
Or basketball.
or well, basketball court, sorry,
Yeah.
basketball court and the baseball field, that. Just a nice tree line along that path somewhere, so like you're not blazing in the sun while you're watching.
100%. So can we
Like,
factor
so
that
it's
into the
just
resident tree buy program? If you have 80 and 15 are like, I don't need it on my property, go put it somewhere else. We just identify 2 areas, right?
Yeah.
Community center fields, Fairhaven fields, a row here, a row here. There's no cost. They come out and you guys have signed off that this is an area that needs it. So why not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright.
I'm 100% in. I will move as quickly as you get me the information.
I'll shoot you over an email, little. Proposal.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's a great idea.
Good.
Cool.
Done.
Attack, so I don't get an attack.
We'll put that on the agenda next month too, just to revisit, but we'll get it moving there.
Yeah.
So yes, where, are we gonna plant a tree on Arbor Day? We're gonna plant trees. We'll have to find some trees and plant them.
Well, yeah, when I mentioned it to you over the weekend, since it's not gonna coincide with our tree buying program.
No, it doesn't. It
You
doesn't
have to, have to chase down a vendor. I mentioned that one guy for the,
Zucchini, or not zucchini, well, there's not, but,
Maybe. What about all the acorns? Mark showed me in Third Street Trail, all the trees that have grown.
oh, the little trees.
Why not use those? We have homegrown trees from the kids that
Yeah.
have picked it.
Well, they're,
Totally get it. We put fence around, but think about how cool that is. You go back to the kids at Sickles, hey, guys,
yeah,
you remember you did this?
yeah,
Look at what you did, right? And then you garner it. And even if you lose 50% of them, the impact it's gonna have from an educational perspective to measure. Like, how cool is that, man? If my kid picked an acorn, gave it to Mark, he grew it,
Yeah.
and then you planted it. And then you went back and said, look at this, I'd be like, holy smokes, Batman, that's awesome.
all right, so where are you thinking about them, by?
You just told me 2 areas, you already told me 2 areas want to.
yeah, I mean, I would prefer something a little more substantial along that
Yeah.
pathway there.
The
but
only problem
just-
too is
But
you
the
tell me.
it
gigantic
could be
acorns.
fun to have 1 or 2
We
of
can-
those
we can
around.
put them
Or
somewhere.
Arbor Day, that
But
could be
some-
Arbor Day. That's Arbor Day project.
I know, but you don't want acorns next to the basketball court. That
Oh,
would
no,
say-
no, but
Like, that wouldn't be a good place. Oh,
I,
planting some of those, all right.
yeah,
Planting them, well, we were supposed to give them to the kids that graduated, but so many of them died.
The acorns, not the kids.
No, yeah, only the kids died,
Fairhaven,
clarify.
don't worry.
All right. I feel like we would have heard about that.
yeah. Yes, we didn't water them enough, these poor children.
The acorns, not the kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a little bit,
Like.
we tried, we learned a lot. Right,
Alright. Any public,
Oh.
I'll open up for public comment if that's all we have right now. If we have
oh,
any,
Susan?
we do have Susan, up, Susan. All right, go for it.
What might be good for, getting out some education if you have the beginnings of an educational program? Love where you live day and having a table and start your education would be the best thing.
Mm-hmm,
You have a lot.
yep, oh yeah. Plan on that.
More than.
Secondly, I'm curious, how many different trees are in the Carter Park?
Yeah, they're probably, yeah, you have the exact thing, right, you have the inventory.
I could get you that answer.
You know what,
Yeah.
speaking of that, Jill, you know what'd be cool is can't we compute a carbon capture? That would be such a cool statistic to have on the park, like how much carbon and like some statistics about.
Carter Park
22 pounds per day,
Yeah,
per tree.
or,
Did you have
every
something?
other day,
yeah.
Susan had something else.
and have a tree. I mean, that's a good idea.
I was thinking more in terms of keeping the kids occupied. So if you have a number of different species of trees, you can tack a label on. you know, it's up for the day. And that could be part of your scavenger hunt. Find a holly tree, or find the locust tree and you have it labeled more tree, because you said it's.
Because they would run that, yeah.
What else is in there?
There's a grove of serviceberry, there's a couple groves of holly, there's some hickories, there are a bunch of red oaks and white
Salem
oaks.
oaks. There's 2
And
Salem
Salem
oaks.
oaks.
Because as the kids are running from tree to tree, they may be noticing that they're different.
Yeah.
And that could be part of an education program also, but I was thinking more of the scavenger hunt. especially if you
That's a good idea, Susan, I like that.
gotta get the kids active and they're gonna run through the park, so high in the trees.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's it.
Thank you.
Builders General used to hand out, give out, like these mini tape measures, like you know, used to have all the house tours, kitchen tours and like
Uh-huh.
regular ones, and that would always be in a goodie bag, like a little tape measure, so you can get some free from them, like.
Tape measure,
Like,
oh, to measure the
Measure the
trees.
trees.
Yeah, measure the trees.
They can go find the biggest one, widest one.
Diameter and breast height.
Are they even 4.5 feet tall?
It doesn't matter, it could be.
Let them work, let them figure it out. They'll figure it out. All right, good stuff. Any other public comments? Public?
Yeah,
There
that's
is,
it.
All right, anybody out there in the Zoom land?
no, there's no one on Zoom,
Okay.
Chris is there.
All right. I think it's time to adjourn this meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Right all.
Night, Chris.
Night.
Huh?
Pictures are.
Does he have a beard?
Wants to know.
They all have beards back.
Wait, I have the bread, I hope I brought it, I have the John Fenwick thing. Make my,
Oh,
where I put it, so you can study it. And learn your script,
so I can get into character.
exactly.
I have to do research.
have any photos?
Just like I did with old Keith Cole back in the third grade.
Or paintings?
It might be a pain.
Just so we can kind of get it, is that